Welcome back to the YouTube channel of the Windsurf Coach. It's great to have you back on the channel. I'm at Wijk aan Zee. It is very cold, but it's windy. As you can hear the windmills, that means there is quite a bit of wind. The wind is gusting up to 24 knots. Today I'm gonna do a test of a wing foil board. I've got the brand new Naish Hover Crossover for 2025. It's the 85 liters board, so that means it is pretty slim and small, but it's still a bit longer. It's not the real long downwind board. The Naish Hover is a mid-length board. You'll see quite a lot of them in 2025. I think that's the go-to board for most people. If you're starting out, it might be a bit slim, so you might want to take a few liters extra. But if you're already advanced in the low wind conditions, or if the wind is patchy, light or gusty, it is such a relief to sail a board like this. I'm really curious to see how this one will perform. Alright guys, I'm gonna change quickly because it's cold and still windy. The wind is supposed to die in about an hour or so, so I'm gonna grab a quick session and let you know afterward how the board performs. For this session I will use my F4 foils with the F800 front wing and the 190 back wing in combination with a duotone SLS Slick. The scoop of the board starts at the holding handle and progresses towards the nose. In the back you have a flat area which transitions into a gentle rocker in the tail. The Hover 85 is 1 meter and 93 centimeters long, width 48.3 centimeters, weight 5.8 kilograms. The tracks are quite long, so you can adjust your foil position to your riding style or your choice of foil. Let's go! When I wanted to pick up my board, I immediately noticed that there was no carrying handle on the bottom. So you have to hold the foil, or you have to wrap your arm around the board to carry it into the water. The downside is that it is a bit more difficult to carry the board for a longer period of time with a foil mounted, but the good thing is that you will have reduced drag on the bottom of the board, so that would make it easier to get onto the foil, or in case of an accidental touchdown, it will be easier to continue. Even though the board is quite narrow, it feels pretty stable, especially since you have quite a long nose and tail on the board, which stabilizes the situation. Getting onto the foil? Check, that was easy. That smooth glide is absolutely such a great advantage of those mid-length boards. It also handles those accidental touchdowns so smoothly. If wave riding is your thing, you might want to ditch those foot straps and just get more freedom to move around. There's quite a good grip on the board and it's quite soft, so that feels great. The concave deck is slightly recessed to get a more direct feel when riding. The recessed deck also means that you have slightly more volume in the nose of the board, which makes it easier to get going. There are 5 different positions for each foot strap, and that makes it easy to find your own balance. The board feels slightly bigger than my small board, but it absolutely doesn't feel like it's 1 meter and 93 centimeters long. And once off the foil, you can feel that the nose really stabilizes the landing, and it helps you to get onto the foil as quickly as possible. On my small board I sometimes get stuck in a wind hole, but with this long fuselage it's a lot easier to get up onto the foil again and continue where you left off. This is one of the reasons why I think it's such a great idea to use a board like this when you're learning how to wing foil, as if you fall you can continue almost immediately without having to wait for that gust. Just look and see how forgiving this board is when I accidentally touch it down. Just try that on a regular board or an inflatable. When you're beginning, you might want to take a size or two bigger just to make sure you have also the width that helps you with the extra stability sideways. But if you already have some experience, let's say you know how to jibe and how to stay on the foil, maybe even how to tack, you can easily get a board that is your weight plus, let's say, 10 to 15 liters extra if you want to use it on a lake which is gusty, patchy. But if you're already experienced and you're sailing at a place where the wind is stable, you can easily just take the board that matches your weight or even smaller. Let's go for the foil out. Did you see that? That is a stall, a full stall of the front wing, which makes me crash back onto the water. Normally with a short board it's almost impossible to recover, but now it's just under control. I noticed that the extra volume in the nose also helps a lot here. Let's see if I can catch a little wave and how that feels. That's a nice wave. What I want from a board in these conditions is that I have enough length in the board so I can put more pressure on my front or back foot and can take it even further back or to the front if I need to. Then I want to be able to steer it. The concave deck absolutely helps. And lastly, and very important, when I accidentally touch the water, I don't want it to stick, but I want it just to glide through and get me back up into the air. That's what I mean. Besides being very light, Naish also says it's pretty durable as they have a glass wood sandwich with carbon reinforcements. Well, if they say it's durable, let's tease her a bit. Well, I see the board also passed this test as the board is still in one piece. Well, that was a nice session. Let's call it a day and go back to the beach. That was quite a nice session with the Naish Hover Crossover 85-liter board. I used my F4 foils with the F800 front wing, the 190 back wing, and I combined it with a 4.0 SLS Slick that I always use. So I've kept everything the same. The only thing that was different this time that I used it at sea, and there were some waves which I'm not used to. I usually test all my stuff inland on a flat water lake, but hey, there was not enough wind over there, and out here I had 20 plus knots, and that was fantastic for the test. Is it a good board? Yes, absolutely. I love it. It has a lot of longitudinal stability. That means that you won't sink the nose or the tail. Of course, as it's quite a slim board, on the lateral it's just a little bit more unstable. I got used to the board quite quickly, and what struck me is that when you pass the waves and accidentally get a foil out, normally you just crash and burn, but this time it was easy to recover. You just go down, the nose of the board absorbs the impact and you will be able to continue the ride. And that was quite interesting compared to the short boards. The takeoff is very easy, it doesn't take much effort. You do need to find the right position for your foil and your straps, but that's easy as well, as you have quite long tracks at the bottom of the board, and for the foot straps you have multiple positions, so you can set it up to your liking and according to the foil that you're using. The only downside that I could discover on this board was that I personally was missing the handle on the bottom of the board, but I also realized that if you incorporate the handle, the board will be more heavy. The board is very light, and that also makes it feel a lot smaller than it is. When you jump or tack or jibe, it doesn't matter, you don't feel the swing weight that much. The good thing of this mid-length board is that it does fit in the back of my car with the foil mounted. I really do hope that you liked this test of the Naish Crossover Hover. If you did, of course, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel of the Windsurf Coach so you don't have to miss out on any of the action. So stay tuned to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. I will see you on the water.